Somebody captured this in the ocean. I heard about sirens and but I never heard anything about this creature or I never seen this type of creature. Now I understand why the ocean is not fully explored.
This woman's dead body wasn't found for 42 years. A woman named Hedviga Golik sat down in front of her television in her modest Croatian apartment, and sadly never got up again. She died alone, of unknown natural causes in the quiet solitude of her home. No one heard her fall, no one came knocking, and so time moved on without her. But what makes this story truly unsettling is what happened next, or rather, what didn't. Hedviga's body remained completely undisturbed for the next 42 years. For more than 4 decades, her remains sat in that same chair in front of the same TV. As dust settled, curtains yellowed, and life outside continued as if she had never existed. Neighbors assumed she had just moved away. It wasn't until 2008, when authorities attempted to clear what they believed was an abandoned property, that they made the haunting discovery. When they opened the door, they were greeted by not just cobwebs or rats, but by the chilling sight of a woman long dead, staring blankly at a TV screen that hadn't flickered in decades.
Y'all,
42 years?
What the fuck is
Crazy.
this? Somebody captured this in the ocean. I heard about sirens and fucking mermaids, but I never heard anything about this creature, or I never seen this type of creature. Now I understand why the ocean is not fully explored. Nobody in their right mind should be going in the fucking ocean. I think they said like the ocean's only 5% discovered. It's because they got shit lurking like this. Y'all, look at this video. Now, I don't know about y'all.
Could be
But if
AI.
I see this, I'm swimming the other way. There's so many things in our ocean that we don't know about. But instead of swimming away, they wanted to get this thing on camera. Look at the definition. Long ass neck. Skinny ass arms, but built this shit. And what the fuck is going on with that hole? What is that for? Is that the mouth? I ain't gonna lie, y'all. That's a you know what, if you ask me. The A word, Mr. E.T. of the water. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down below in the comments. And if this is even real.
Check out
That
this
was
chilling
Cat.
footage as an attacker attempts to steal a man's child right out of his own hands. I mean, this is incredibly disturbing stuff, and this is sadly the reality of the America we live in today. Did you know that every 40 seconds a child goes missing or is abducted in the United States? That means that while you're watching this video, 2 children will either go missing or be abducted. Every single day in the U.S., on average, about 2,100 children are reported missing. Out of those cases, about 800 of them usually end up being false alarms, but the disappearances of the other 1,300 children that go missing every single day aren't as easily explained. And in addition, every single day, on average, 33 children are abducted by someone who has no relation to them. Someone who isn't a family friend, a parent, someone in the bloodline, a total and random stranger. And what happens to these children? Those statistics are really hard to wrap your head around, but these children have to be going somewhere. And sadly, oftentimes, children vanish. In the United States alone, every single year, 800,000 different children are reported missing to authorities. And on average, about 4,600 of those children that go missing every single year are abducted by someone who has no relation to them. Sadly, oftentimes, these children end up in the sex trafficking world, or they end up dead. We have a massive problem here in America, and it's a problem that politicians do not want to talk about. And these statistics, to me, are just incredibly, deeply disturbing.
It is, man. 800,000, that's almost a million. Really opened my eyes to that, bro. I didn't expect the number to be that high. America has a problem, man. We need to fix that immediately.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. There's a parasite called guinea worm that enters your leg through infected drinking water. And you won't even know that you have it until a year later when it comes out through blisters on your skin. And at this point, it's over 2 feet long. It's commonly believed that the chlorine in pools make our eyes red. However, it's actually chlorine mixing with urine that causes this to happen.
chilling. Some chilling facts.
These are the rarest human genetics. If you sleep with your eyes open, you're a part of the 16%, and only 2% of the world's population has a photographic memory. 63% of people have a flexible tongue and can make a clover shape like this. Can you? And 30% of
No.
people can raise one eyebrow. I definitely can't. If you can wiggle one of your ears, you're a part of the 22%, and only 1% of people can talk. Well,
built to survive car accidents. With cars evolving faster than we are, a team in Australia designed a crash-proof human. A human that would have what it takes to survive a car accident. An artist, a crash expert, and a trauma surgeon teamed up to create Graham. To survive these deadly car scenarios, Graham was built different, having a much larger skull and a concave, fatty face. His neck is nearly non-existent to prevent spinal cord injuries. Thicker skin and external air sacs on the ribcage for extra protection. Pedestrian collisions were also considered. Graham's lower ankle is fitted with an extra joint for more mobility, as well as having flexible knees. Say hello to Mindy, the girl from the year 3000. She is quite the looker. Mindy was created by tech company Toll-Free Forwarding after collecting data on how technology may impact our future development. A hunched back and neck are present due to looking down at screens. She also has text claw from gripping onto a smartphone for long periods of time. A 90-degree elbow, which is called smartphone elbow, thicker skulls, smaller brains, and even an extra set of eyelids. The eyelids would prevent headaches, eye strain, and blindness.
That is so crazy, man. Those bills that they made for the car wash, for the phones. Could you see, imagine humans evolving to that? I don't think I can. Not me.
This horror series on Netflix does not get enough love, but this is the perfect time of year to watch it. Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities is one of my favorite miniseries out there. It's 8 different episodes, with each episode being a different horror story. But along with them being horror stories, a lot of them just ooze this Halloween feeling. They're like usually old-timey, they're dimly lit, they always have candles, they just have this spooky season feel to it. My top 3 favorite episodes are Graveyard Rats, which this one is about this grave robber who's trying to break into this wealthy man's casket, but the cemetery's rat infestation proves to be a bigger problem than he bargained for. This one is just such a fun creature feature, but it does have some very intense claustrophobic moments. My second favorite episode is Lot 36. It's about this guy who tries to make money by buying storage units and selling what's inside of them, but he would have never guessed what he would find inside of Lot 36. I absolutely love this like dark, candlelit, demonic vibe of this episode. And my number 1 favorite episode, which I feel like is everybody's favorite episode, is The Autopsy. It's about this sheriff who's trying to get down to the bottom of this very ominous case, and so he calls in his friend to do an autopsy, but what he finds out is so chilling. Even though those are my top 3 episodes, all the episodes in this series are so good. If you've seen it, let me know which episode is your favorite, because I am so curious.
Things we did in school that today's kids will never experience. We always drew the sun in the corner.
Yep.
Painting your nails with the whiteout.
That's new.
Only real ones remember this fish. Walking down the school hallway, you'd run your fingers through the cracks in the bricks along the wall. Lunchboxes in the 90s were way better than the ones kids have now. When that thing rolled into the classroom, your teacher was definitely hungover.
Bill and I.
Topping all your pencils with pencil trolls. Today's kids will never know how to play Minesweeper because we didn't know either. Drawing that mysterious S symbol every day.
Classic.
That musty, common smell of the public library when you were a kid. Reading 100 books for a personal pan pizza. Trying to keep your Tamagotchi alive as long as it didn't get confiscated by the teacher. That was the best notebook. Me 5-star. It made you want to be a better student.
We know Diddy got 4 years. People were shocked when that happened. When all the info dropped, nobody could have guessed that sentence. 50.
It says who is the number 1 slasher. You have Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Art the Clown, Leatherface, Ghostface, Leprechaun, and of course Chucky. Dead last, it isn't even close. You have the Leprechaun. Bro is not scary at all. All you have to do is stay away from his goal, and you're safe. Buddy is not fooling anybody with those socks. You guys had to see this one coming. There is no way I am going to be intimidated by a doll with the strength of a grown man. At the end of the day, he is still a doll. I'm punting him across the field.
And as you guys already know, Ghostface in Scream is one of my favorite all-time franchises, but I'm sorry, I don't care if there's 1, 2, 3, or 4. Ghostface does not stack up with any of these other characters. And this is where it gets difficult. I'm going to have to put Leatherface in the cannibalistic family right here. Super strong, but definitely does not match up to any of our other horror characters. You gotta put right here. Unfortunately, bro is not tough. I'm sorry, but it's just the truth. Really have to explain. In the third place spot, you of course have Michael Myers. Absolutely terrifying, but is not undead like the other two characters. The number 2 spot, I gotta put my boy Art the Clown. It all depends on what Terrifier 4 is, and bro's actually that strong. And finally, the number 1 slasher is of course Jason.
P. Diddy was just sentenced to 4 years in jail. That's right, only 4 years for all those witnesses and all the evidence they found. On top of this, since he's been in custody since September of 2024, he's already getting a year off of his sentence for that. They acquitted him of the racketeering and the sex trafficking charges back in July. What they did end up charging him with, though, is the transportation of former girlfriends to. Those are 2 very, very lesser charges compared to the other ones that he was being charged with. After he gets out, he has 5 years of supervised probation. I find this baffling with the baby oil, assaulting multiple women and everything like that. Only 4 years. A lot of people are calling this case unconstitutional, but he really just had a good lawyer at the end of the day. He did all of those crimes, don't get me wrong. It might not say it on paper, but he definitely did all those crimes. And I also believe that he should be put away for a lot longer than 4 years for all the suffering he's caused to people. At the end of the day, if you have a good lawyer, you can get away with stuff like this. And this guy has a lot of money, so that's what happened in this case. This is why celebrities usually just get a little slap on the wrist when they do stuff like this. It's horrible. What do you guys think about this?
According to a recent study on rainbow trout, fish can suffer for more than 20 minutes of intense pain after being taken out of the water. When fish are removed from water, their gills collapse, preventing oxygen intake and causing carbon dioxide to build up in their system. This triggers a strong physiological pain response, which researchers now widely accept as evidence that fish can experience real suffering. The study adds to growing scientific consensus that fish are sentient, capable of feeling pain, and should be treated more humanely in commercial fishing and aquaculture practices.
Okay.
This is one of the most horrific manners of death I have ever heard of. Proceed with caution, this case is very graphic. Hella and Richard Kraft married in 1979 and settled down in Newtown, Connecticut, eventually having 3 children together. Hella was a flight attendant, and Richard was an Eastern Airlines pilot who was also a volunteer constable and was a part-time police officer in Southbury. In September of 1986, Hella found out that Richard was having multiple affairs and had met with a divorce attorney. She also hired a private investigator. The private investigator had captured photos of Richard kissing another flight attendant in front of her home, and this settled it. Hella was going to leave him. But on November 18th, Hella's friends had dropped her off at her and Richard's home after she got done working a long international flight. This would be the last time Hella would ever be seen again. That night, a huge snowstorm hit, and by the next morning, Richard said he was taking Hella and the kids to his sister's home in Westport, but when he arrived, Hella was not with him. Her friends knew Richard had a bad temper and grew concerned, but Richard always gave them an excuse as to why they couldn't get a hold of her. First he said she was visiting her mom in Denmark, then said she was visiting the Canary Islands with a friend, and then said that he simply just didn't know where she was at. Hella wasn't reported missing until December 1st, and because of Richard's high status in the community, police initially didn't want to investigate him. It wasn't until December 26th, when police searched Richard's home while he was away, that they found pieces of carpet that had been ripped up from the master bedroom floor. Police also found a blood smear on the side of the bed. The Crafts nanny came forward and recalled that a dark stain had appeared on that area of carpet, which was later missing. Richard's credit card reports also showed several odd purchases around the time Hella went missing, including a large freezer that was not found in the house, bed sheets, and the rental of a wood chipper and a truck. They also found the receipt for a chainsaw. A local man who was driving the town snowplow soon came forward and stated that on the night of November 18th, hours after Hella was last seen, he spotted a rental truck driven by Richard with a wood chipper attached, parked close to the shore of Lake Zor. Upon searching, investigators discovered human tissue, the crown of a tooth, a fingernail of pink nail polish, bone chips, over 2,000 pieces of blonde human hair, and O-type blood, which matched Hella's. In the lake, authorities found a chainsaw covered in blonde hair and blood, which also matched Hella's DNA. The tooth crown also positively matched to Hella's dental records. Furthermore, the serial code on the chainsaw matched to that of Richard's receipt. Authorities concluded that Richard struck Hella in the head, staining the carpet with blood, and then kept her body in the freezer for hours until she was frozen solid, then cutting her apart with the chainsaw and feeding the pieces through the wood chipper. Richard was arrested, and his first murder trial ended in a hung jury because Hella's body was never officially recovered. But after a second trial, he was found guilty and sentenced to 50 years in prison. But because of good behavior and not being a threat to the community, he was released from prison in June of last year and is now living at a halfway house in New Haven.
Insane, bro. I found him. Who chasing him? Oh, they hit the Jets.
This is an update about the 115 decaying bodies found at a Colorado funeral home. New information has come out about the owner's troubling past. I'm also going to give you my personal opinion on how I think this mess came to be. John Halford has been operating the Return to Nature funeral home since August of 2017. This place prides itself on green burial, which means people have the options to not be embalmed by harsh chemicals and they can be buried in environmentally safe caskets. They also provide cremation services, and this is where I think everything went wrong. On their website, which is still up, it says, as of July 2023, Return to Nature no longer offers cremation services. They said that they would honor pre-existing arrangements, but did they? This is a comment on the funeral home's Instagram, which is still up. Give me the rest of my mother's ashes that you kept to plant a tree that you never did. All you people did was lie. And another one. This person wrote, this makes me sick to my stomach. We have reason to believe my mom may be one of the bodies they found. We just released what we thought were her ashes in Hawaii, which was her last wishes. I even had a pendant made. My family is just sick about this. You can't really fake burying a body when most people are viewing their loved ones before they go into the ground, but you can send people fake ashes. This is actually exactly what another Colorado funeral home owner did and was convicted of it this year. This is Megan Hess, and she ran the Sunset Mesa Funeral Home in Montrose. She and her mother were selling body parts to body brokers without the family's knowledge or permission. And to cover this up, they either didn't send the ashes or sent fake ashes, like bags of concrete mix and dust. Anyways, they got 20 years in prison. But let's get back to John Halford. It came out today that he and his wife are facing several lawsuits from prior to the bodies being discovered. A real estate company says they owe them over $97,000, and a coffin supply company alleges that they owe them over $20,000. And his money and legal issues actually go back much further, because prior to moving to Colorado in 2016, he and his family were living in Oklahoma. And this is where it gets weird. In 2006, John Halford and two others staged a fake robbery as a prank. They apparently entered a slumber party full of women wearing masks, and they were holding guns and pointing them at them. But it was just a prank. John ended up pleading guilty to misdemeanor for pointing a deadly weapon. That same year, John was ordered to pay over $8,000 to Creditors Recovery Corporation. 3 years later, he was ordered to pay over $1,000 to an apartment complex after he apparently refused to leave and didn't show up for court. 2 years after that, John's company was sued by Shannon Square LLC. He was ordered to pay $5,000 after not appearing in court. 5 years after that judgment, and in 2016, John moves his family and business to Colorado Springs. And the following year, he forms the Return to Nature Funeral Home. So this funeral home has several locations. I don't know why, but one of those locations is in Penrose, Colorado. And a couple weeks ago, neighbors started smelling an abhorrent smell. The following day, on October 4th, a person in charge of overseeing funeral home registration spoke to John Halford on the phone. And on the phone, John said he owned the property and that he had a problem. He also claimed he was doing taxidermy. Authorities raided the property the following day, and that's when they discovered the 115 bodies. But get this, the registration of this Penrose location expired in November of last year, meaning John was not allowed to be operating funeral services at this location since then. Because there are so many bodies, local authorities are being assisted by the FBI and military. And yet, despite this gruesome find, no one has been arrested yet. I truly don't think this is a case of 115 people being forgotten about by their families. In my opinion, I think John Halford was charging families for cremation, pocketing the money, and sending fake ashes to the families. That is just what I think personally happened, but we'll have to wait and see what authorities say. The FBI has put out a questionnaire for potential victims so they can identify the body. So I encourage you, if you did business with this funeral home, even if you got your loved one's ashes, please fill out this questionnaire, because it might not be your loved one.
Now skip this video. An 8-year-old girl bravely fought off a terrifying intruder who entered her home in the middle of the night wearing a clown mask. On the 15th of October, a scene unfolded in a small town like that from a horror film. At around 1:30 a.m., a man broke into a child's bedroom in Colorado. Police described the incident as an attempted child abduction, with the man entering the room in a dark hoodie and a cloth clown mask. Terrifyingly, the little girl was blindfolded and snatched off her bed as the man tried to take her from her bedroom. She was subject to quite a brutal attack by the intruder and bravely fought him off until he hit her over the head and knocked her out. Fortunately, it seems that he was spooked in the process of this and fled the scene. Now, it apparently took police over an hour to get to the incident at the property, but they did manage to gather vital evidence and then track the intruder down. They revealed his identity as 56-year-old Thomas Gallegos. They were able to arrest him and charge him with multiple serious offences such as burglary, assault, kidnapping and child abuse. The little girl did sustain cuts and bruises and was obviously traumatised by the attack, but fortunately did live to tell the tale.
This is how rare your body actually is. Starting off, only 5% of people have tied tongues, so if you have this, you're pretty rare. Basically, this is where your tongue is tied to the bottom of your mouth, impacting your speech and eating. Next up is Morton's toe, and if you have this, you're probably pretty rare. Only 10% of the population has this, and this is where your index toe is bigger than your big toe. Okay, this next one is crazy. 1% of people actually have unbreakable bones. This is a genetic mutation which causes people's bones to be more dense than the average human. And one person who had this condition actually walked away from a car crash unharmed. Next, about 50% of people can fit their hand in their mouth. Sounds a bit high, so if you actually can, let me know. If you can tickle yourself, you're in the rare 7% of the population that can do this. About 10% of people suffer from eczema, which is a skin rash and is so annoying. And finally, we have the 16% of people that can make a roaring noise in their head by clenching their jaw.
If any of your secrets, man, can you guys do any of those unique things, man? I think I have the tied tongue, but I can't fit my whole fist in my mouth. I know I can't do that. I don't even need to try to do that, bro. And the unbreakable bones. I saw actually somebody comment down, a fellow seeker said how like the unbreakable bone story was kind of not true. So, like I said, to each their own. Everybody got to do their own research, but that's crazy.
Crazy part is, most people believe that these 3 things will actually save your life. They don't. Let's pretend you're lost in the desert and you need water, and you don't have any. So where are some places you can get water? One commonly held terrible piece of advice is to drink your own pee, because it's mostly made up of water, except there's 5% of that that's all made up of just waste from your body, and even though the urine might keep you alive a little bit longer, you'll ultimately die of kidney failure. So you don't drink your own pee. Instead, you head over to some cactus you see nearby because you remember reading or hearing in school that you can drink the water inside of cactus. Except, unless it's one really specific kind of cactus, you'll be drinking lots of alkaloids and chemicals that will make you viciously ill, and you'll start vomiting and you'll have diarrhea and you'll die from dehydration much faster. So as you're sitting there wondering what you're going to do next, a venomous snake bites you. And so you instinctively start sucking on the bite to remove the poison, but you can't because it goes right in your bloodstream, and all you'll do is die much faster from infection.
Man, those 3 things, he just proved us wrong.
This picture from inside the basement of Fun Zone, and I'm going to get into some of the backstory about what it is that we're actually looking at here. But what I can tell you is that when I did see it, my heart sunk. For some backstory, if you don't know what Fun Zone is, this is kind of a relic of the late 90s, early 2000s. It had lots of iterations over the years, but it was effectively like an indoor amusement park or arcade. It used to be like a really fun place to be. It had a handful of carnival rides, indoor roller coasters, all the works. So Fun Zone eventually did close down and they boarded up the doors. I guess the problem was that that didn't stop people from breaking in. One of the curious things about this location was that they didn't sell off any of the equipment that was inside. It just kind of remained in place. Eventually, upon one of the break-ins where somebody went in, they made their way to the basement where they found an abandoned cell phone, and that is where we get this picture. Nobody really knows who took the photo or what really happened to them, but if you look a bit closer to the background, you will see the same thing that I do. You can see it if I make the photo brighter. Whoever was exploring Fun Zone, they came face to face with a person in that basement. Don't forget, if scary stories like this are of interest to you, make sure to go check them out right on the podcast.
We're always told to drink a lot of water throughout the day, but have you ever wondered what happens when you drink too much water? Well, 35-year-old Ashley Summers drank 64 ounces of water in a span of 20 minutes and passed away from water toxicity. Ashley, her husband, and 2 daughters were at Lake Freeman in Indiana when she began feeling dehydrated. So she drank 4 bottles of water because for some reason she wasn't able to quench her thirst. Ashley complained about having a horrible headache and she began to feel lightheaded. When she got home with her family, she passed out in the garage and she was taken to the hospital where the doctor said she had brain swelling. Ashley never woke up and she was pronounced dead from water toxicity. A toxicologist said that this is more likely to happen to someone who's extremely dehydrated, which will cause them to drink too much water and not enough sodium or electrolytes. So remember, bring more than just water on really hot days, especially if you're under the sun for a long period of time.
Here's why you might not want to visit your mom on her birthday. A man was stuck in traffic while driving home after visiting his mother for her birthday. The man was so frustrated that when the GPS told him to take a detour, he went right away, which might have been a mistake. His gas light then came on, so he decided to pull into this super barren town to fill up his tank. So the man went in, pumped his gas, and when he went to pay, the clerk was super weird. He didn't acknowledge him and just gave him a creepy smile. The man then went outside and saw a woman just standing in the middle of the road and said, "Are you okay?" And the woman looked at him and said, "Ah, yes, we are happy here." The man was like, "What?" and just drove out of there. Till a cop pulled him over and said, "Sir, you can't drive. Driving's illegal here." The man had had enough and literally just went pedal to the metal and zoomed out of there. When he got home, he was just so confused. The people looked real but didn't act human. He tried to research it but decided, next year I'm just sending my mom a card.
Yeah, the Fast and Furious out of there, bro. I did the same thing too. People are acting weird, very weird.
Weird Nature Facts, Part 37. In proportion to body weight, koalas have one of the smallest brains of any mammal. They're so dumb that when presented with leaves on a flat surface instead of on branches, they are unable to recognize them as food and will not eat them. Dogs get sprayed by skunks so often because skunks raise their tails as a warning. Dogs see this as "come smell my butt," which is the exact opposite message of what the skunk is trying to send. In Germany, it is illegal to kill any vertebrate animal without proper reason. Because of this, all German animal shelters are no-kill. In the 1980s, Ken the orangutan escaped from his enclosure at the San Diego Zoo multiple times. His apparent goals were visiting other animals, taking photos with tourists, and throwing rocks at his orangutan rival.
Wow,
Here are some disturbing facts about Disney. Many scenes in Toy Story are inspired by the horror movie The Shining. The voice actor that did Lilo in Lilo and Stitch also played the ghost girl in The Ring. The Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland feature real human skeletons. Also at Disneyland, there are vents that pump out artificial smells to keep you happy. After the release of Princess and the Frog, over 50 kids went to hospital for salmonella. They tried to kiss a frog. Do you know any other creepy things about Disney? Leave a comment.
Here's some.
I think the thing that got to me the most is that he pumping out like a smoke out of a vent to keep you happy at Disney. What the heck? What they got going on with Disney, bro? And the more you know, I heard some creepy facts about Disney, but that's definitely a new one I heard today, Seekers.
The creepiest videos on the internet, Part 10. The popular American rapper XXXTentacion was murdered on June 18th, 2018, and his death broke the hearts of many.
R.I.P.
Many people visited his memorial to leave gifts, but some people captured much more. The YouTube channel, The Fam, recorded a video trying to communicate with its beloved rapper, but accidentally captured this. But someone else got a lot more than this. The YouTube channel Selva the Explorer got to speak with him through her spirit box. Here's some things he had to say.
What is your favorite song you've ever recorded? What's the name of your favorite song? Are you in the Wi-Fi? Is there anything else you want to tell us?
Is this legit? They were speaking to his ghost?
Yeah, I don't know if this is the most disturbing, but this is definitely top 5. This is Malgas Island, and up to 60,000 of these birds called Cape Gannets will nest here. But don't worry, I'm gonna get to it. So normally these parents take turns, with one going out for food with the other staying behind to guard the chick. But because of overfishing, oftentimes both parents will go out for food, leaving the chick all alone on the island. Which wouldn't be a problem if they didn't know that. Because groups of these white pelicans will fly over to the islands and then walk around looking for any unsupervised Ganny chicks, so that they can grab the baby birds and eat them alive while they're still struggling. And sometimes they'll just push the parents out the way and then swallow the newborn children right in front of them. it somehow gets worse. Those same pelicans will fly back to their nest and vomit the half-digested, recently murdered baby birds for the pelican chicks to eat. And because Cape Gannets have no real way to defend themselves, pelicans have no reason to stop. And since pelicans obviously don't have teeth, those chicks' last moments were spent suffocating while being digested alive by stomach acid, only to get regurgitated and eaten twice. Dinosaurs never went extinct. They just rebranded with feathers.
Black Air Force energy. Confirmed. They need some menaces, bro.
This is proof that we aren't alone. Okay, so in Wyoming, there's a strange mountain in the middle of nowhere with ridges on it, and no one seems to know why. Now, most people say that this is because of erosion. However, there's a theory behind this mountain that will absolutely shock you.
Talk about
And
it.
as the theory says, the real reason as to why this mountain has ridges is not because of erosion, but because of a giant bear. The said bear is said to be named Mato and is about 60 feet tall, weighing over 10 tons. And this story even goes as far back as the Stone Age, with drawings of a gigantic bear attacking tribes on wall caves. However, this creature has not been seen since.
So this video went viral sometime last year when this woman and her kids, along with her friend and her friend's kids, went out to eat after a doctor's appointment. While they sat at this restaurant, this random man came out of nowhere and tried to grab one of their daughters and pull her out of the restaurant. The two mothers had a total of 6 kids with them, and they were all seated on this table, but in front of them were 2 other young kids who happened to be Snapchatting while this whole thing went down, and they caught this crazy moment. When the mother realized that this man had grabbed her daughter, she stood up right away and said, "Oh hell no." And then he said, "I'm just playing," and he let go of the little girl. There is no way this man is just playing around. He intended to take that little girl, and he probably thought it was going to be easy because there's just 2 moms with 6 kids at this table.
Humanoid robots.
Yeah, nah, he was definitely on some weird crap, bro. Gonna say, try to play it off as a joke, man. These people are getting bold now, bro. Like, right in front of the parents, they just don't care no more. Did the right thing stand? Nah, we had to run that feed, bro. No. Somebody had to drag me off that guy, man. And like, in front of the parents? How stupid could you be?
Are getting creepier by the day. A startup from Poland called Clone Robotics is on a mission to create some of the most human-like robots ever, even going as far as to use a musculoskeletal body using hydraulic tendon muscles covered in this stretchy skin-like fabric. And it's not just for show, because they claim that it is the strongest biomimetic hand in the world. Oh, and just like in the movies, their artificial muscles bleed if punctured. So yeah, things are getting serious now.
It's Terminator next step.
Today, let's talk about the mysterious disappearance of Rebecca Corium. Rebecca Corium was a 24-year-old worker on the Disney Wonder cruise ship. On March 22, 2011, while working on the cruise ship, Rebecca disappeared without a trace. This is one of the last photos taken of her, and it was from CCTV footage. At 5:45 a.m. that morning, footage revealed Rebecca talking on the phone with someone. She seemed visibly distressed. Now here's where it gets twisted. Many people believe that Disney knows exactly what happened to Rebecca, but are trying to cover up this whole thing. Let me explain. For starters, the captain of the ship said that Rebecca was just washed over by a big wave. They then gave Rebecca's parents a sandal and said that this was hers and it was retrieved from the deck that she was last seen on. Number 1, the sandal wasn't her size. Number 2, it wasn't her style. It was also revealed that Disney had edited the CCTV footage. Check out part 2 on this case for more information.
They're just trying to save some money, man. That's not the first time a big company would do something like that. It's sad.
Did you know that they may have just exposed Satan's city? What's even more crazy is there's people living there right now and it's not hell. Whilst addressing a church in Revelation chapter 2 verse 13, Jesus exposes the city of Satan. Watch this. Jesus says, "I know where you live, a place where Satan sits enthroned." And he says that same place is where his faithful witness Antipas died. Saint Antipas was martyred by being burnt in a bronze bull in Geneva, Switzerland. Like, this literally happened under the rule and reign of Nero. And you're never gonna guess what's happening in Geneva, Switzerland right now. It's home to an organization called CERN, whose, logo just happens to be 666. And their goal in life is to develop a machine that can actually tear a hole between the natural and supernatural realm. And they just made a discovery of something called the God particle, but that's a video for another time. Subscribe now if you love Jesus.
What do we think about CERN, man? That's their headquarters,
This
bro.
is the disturbing truth about Christmas. This is Black Peter, and he spends the whole year spying on kids, taking note on who has been good and who has been bad. Every single Christmas, Black Peter goes with Santa from house to house, and while Santa gives presents to the good kids, Black Peter punishes the bad ones, and this is what he does to them. First, he will leave you a bag of twigs and a pile of coal. But if you have been really bad, Black Peter will snatch you from your bed and throw you into a sack. He will then kidnap you and take you to his coal mine, where he will chain you up and make you his slave. You will then work for him for the rest of your life, and if Black Peter ever gets sick of you, he will just simply eat you. So if this doesn't motivate you to make the nice list, then I don't know what will.
Stay away from Black Peter, bro.
Of the silent man. In 2014, a 51-year-old man in the UK named David Hampson decided to stand in the middle of a busy road and block the traffic. The incident was then reported and police officers arrived at the scene to see what was going on. But when they tried to talk to David to get him to move, he wouldn't say a word and just stood there, so they arrested him. From his arrest to when he was brought to court, David still remained completely silent and wouldn't even talk to his lawyer. Although since no one knew his motives and he hadn't actually hurt anyone, David was let go soon afterwards. But all he did was just go back to that same street and stand there, silent, once again. And he committed this same crime over and over again for the next 7 years, never saying a word to anyone. Even though he was jailed multiple times, every time he was released, he would just go back to that same street and do the exact same thing. All the doctors who had tried to help David failed because he refused to speak to them. And it was reported that the only time anyone had ever heard him speak was when he was giving food and water, and he said thanks. Finally, in 2020, David was given 3.5 years in prison for his actions, and is still yet to speak to anyone on why he did it. Fourth one.
If you believe
That's
in God,
crazy.
stay away from Halloween. Muslims, Christians, or anyone who believes in God, Halloween is a pagan festival. It involves evil spirits, jinns, and shaitan. It is forbidden for Muslims, and real Christians will know the truth. Please do not associate with it and stay away. Share this everywhere and spread awareness.
Alright guys, let's
That's
talk about
true, I remember
Krampus.
that.
Krampus comes from old German folklore. He's the opposite of Santa Claus, and he punishes misbehaving children on Christmas. You might be asking, what does he do to punish these misbehaving children? He stuffs them in his bag and takes them back to his lair. He either eats them or tortures them. He also has a whole gang of minions that help him do this. Krampus is celebrated around many parts of Europe, and there have been a lot of petitions to ban him. This is because people are scared of the legend and they don't want to keep doing it. But every single year during Christmas time, there are always reports of Krampus sightings all over the place. Let me know what you guys think about Krampus in the comment section below.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 3. The first firefighter killed in 9/11 attacks was struck dead by a falling body in the courtyard. One of them was killed on his way in, and the other was killed on his way out. Right now, there are tiny little bugs on your face munching on your dead skin. Your bones are wet. If you don't have kids, you will break an unbroken line of children that has gone on for tens of millions of years. A scientist studying death asked a man who was about to be executed by a guillotine if he would blink after his head was chopped off. He ended up blinking for 30 seconds. Most laugh tracks for TV shows were recorded in the early 1950s, meaning that you hear dead people laugh. If you're attacked by a bear, it won't try to kill you like other predators. Instead, it'll just start eating you. One day, someone will mention you for the last time, then they'll never ever mention you again.
Crazy to think about, man.
Here are the creepiest Christmas urban legends, part 1. Ever heard of the Yule Cat? This is an extremely creepy cat that's said to originate from Iceland. According to stories, the Yule Cat enjoys snacking on people during the holiday season. And what makes the Yule Cat even weirder is that it specifically targets people who haven't received any new clothing before Christmas Eve. Iceland is also home to Gryla. According to Iceland lore, Gryla is a giant ogress who leaves her cave in the mountains to feed on children during Christmas. To make the story even creepier, Gryla keeps the Yule cat as a pet. What the hell is going on in Iceland? Then we have Belschnickel, and this one comes from Germany. According to people of the Rhine, Belschnickel is an old bearded man who visits children during the holidays with Santa Claus. If you were good that year, he'd give you cakes and candy. If you were bad, well, Belschnickel would pull out a switch and whip the children until they behaved. This is probably why Dwight from The Office loved him so much. There's also Krampus. This is one you've probably heard about from movies and books. In the Alpines, Krampus is a horned demonic figure who visits the homes of naughty children on December 5th and punishes them. In some versions of the story, he hits them with birch rods. In others, he straight up takes them back down to hell with him. The Germans definitely know how to scar kids for life.
Scary things hidden in Disney movies. In Mona, Olaf from Frozen appears in Mona's basket. In Wall-E, Rex from Toy Story All Alone among the junk.
Whoa,
Here's
I never
the truth
noticed
behind
that.
Dora the Explorer. You may think it's just some ordinary cartoon, but there's actually a big secret behind it. Dora the Explorer is actually blind, and here's proof. If you watch the show, you'll notice Dora never actually looks at what she's talking about. She always looks in another direction and doesn't even blink. This also explains why her parents make her take Boots everywhere, because Boots is actually a Secret Service animal. Even in this scene right here, Boots is counting the coins and she's not looking anywhere near that. And this explains why she always asks obvious questions to the audience. The 16-year-old.
Whoa, what the heck? Hey, that's a new theory, man, that she just put in my head. Was Dora the Explorer always blind? What do you guys think, man? It was lining up perfectly.
Girl threw her newborn out of her window. Viewers' discretion is strongly advised. On September 30th of 2016, a 16-year-old Antonia Lopez had gave birth to a baby girl. Right after giving birth, she took a photo of the baby and sent that photo to her baby's father on Snapchat. Antonia had captioned the photo saying it was a girl, by the way. Right after that is when she made the decision to throw the baby out of her second-story window. Shortly after that, she then decides to post on her Facebook around 3:40 a.m. to see if someone can help her out. Someone ends up replying to her Facebook post, and she is asking help to get rid of a deceased baby, needs some trash bags, and a car. Antonia ends up telling her mom what happened, and her mom immediately calls 911 and rushes down to that baby to perform CPR. Antonia was taken into custody, and she could face up to 20 years in prison if she was charged as an adult. The judge ends up charging Antonia as a juvenile so she can avoid prison time. Instead, she was sentenced to live in a group home, complete 50 hours of community service, attend therapy sessions, and delete her Facebook account. The only reason they made her delete her Facebook account was because of the angry comments she was receiving.
Here's what famous cartoon characters would look like in real life, and the last one will freak you out. This is what Homer Simpson would look like as a real person. And this is a 3D rendering of Mario. Buzz Lightyear doesn't actually look too different in real life. And Bart Simpson seems to have a missing chin when he turns real. Stewie Griffin from Family Guy doesn't look too different. But SpongeBob SquarePants might freak you out.
Yeah, he did. SpongeBob can't be real. that face.
Maps that will change the way you see the world. These cities are all still owed money from the Trump campaign. There are now over 50 countries generating over 50% of their electricity from renewable energy. This shows the employment rates for 15 to 29-year-olds in Europe. The darkest blue areas are over 80%, and the darkest red areas are under 30%. This is how much it costs to hold a prisoner in each state in the United States. In Arkansas, it only costs $23,000, but in Maine, it costs over $300,000. 33% of the entire country of Switzerland lives within 5 kilometers of the main train line that goes through the country. This map shows how population is dispersed through France, with the same amount of people living in the green as in the red. This map shows how many people by percentage in each country in Europe actually speak French. This map is highlighting every city that was founded by the French in the United States.
Wow, the more you know. That first map is crazy, bro.
These are scary cartoon truths that would terrify you, part 8. Okay, so the Teletubbies is a dark nightmare about genetically engineered slave creatures. being systematically trained to become part of our society. The Teletubbies aren't in control of their own destiny, and 3 things control their day-to-day life. First is the voice, which is a tiny female voice that tells them when they could eat, sleep, say hello, or even say goodbye. The robotic voice comes from a speaker in the ground, hinting that something larger lies beneath. Next up is Nunu. He's a harmless vacuum cleaning robot who follows the Teletubbies and cleans up all the messes that they make, and also yelling at them for bad decisions. Nunu is just the watchdog of the Teletubbies. Finally is the pinwheel. Whenever the pinwheel starts to spin, the Teletubbies stop everything they're doing and run to the top of the hill to perform a ritual. People believe the Teletubbies is based on the end of the world.
Wow, we've heard some crazy theory about the Teletubbies, but that's definitely a new one.
Saudi Arabia has just said that the groundwork for what would become the largest structure on Earth is now 86% complete. Now, not only would it be large enough to fit 20 Empire State Buildings inside, but similar to the Las Vegas Sphere, in its center will be this spiral-shaped tower encased by a VR dome that essentially could create anything your mind could imagine, whether that be on Mars, under the ocean, balcony views of Pandora, and even whatever the hell these things are. So the question is, do you think they'll be able to complete this by 2030 or not?
This evil
I
grandmother
don't think
baked
so.
her 20-month-old granddaughter in the oven. Viewer's discretion is strongly advised. 48-year-old Carolyn Jones lived with her brother and 20-month-old granddaughter Royalty in Shaw, Mississippi. She was described as a caring woman who loved her granddaughter. On October 15th of 2018, Carolyn's brother had found Royalty in a still warm oven when he had returned home from work. She had been burned so badly that she was unrecognizable. The police determined that Royalty had been stabbed multiple times and was still alive when she was placed in the oven. Royalty's cause of death was stab wounds and inhaling all that heated air. Carolyn was taken into custody on a charge of first-degree murder. The motive behind why she did this is still unclear to this day. A week before the incident, Royalty's toys and belongings had been left on the curb for trash. Royalty's car seat, high chair, ride-on horse, and diapers were among the items taken by people that were passing down their street. Neighbors were shocked to hear about what happened, and they stated that they rarely saw Carolyn or anyone else at that house, and they had no idea that a small child was even living there. In 2022, Carolyn was sentenced to life in prison for capital murder.
An 11-year-old boy came across this girl buried underneath the sand, and this is what happened. A young boy named Connor Fitzgerald was building sandcastles with a couple of his friends at the Marina Dunes beach in California. The boys soon moved to digging holes in the sand and challenged each other to see who could dig the deepest. As Connor was digging his hole, he suddenly hit something with his right hand. He dug deeper and realized that it was a bag. He dug around the bag, grabbed it, pulled it out, and was shocked when he realized that the bag was still attached to its owner. Connor then dug back more sand to find a little girl buried underneath. He called out for help, but there were no adults around, so he single-handedly pulled her out of the sand. The little girl was completely limp and wasn't breathing. Connor then thought back to an episode of NCIS where he saw a character perform CPR. As he started the procedure, a young couple walking down the beach started sprinting.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 32. Running an underground toddler fight club. The women instructed at least 6 children to have full-on fistfights. The most isolated place on the planet is a little dot in the Pacific Ocean called Point Nemo. It's the furthest spot from any kind of land, and the closest civilization is 1,000 miles away. In 2019, filmmakers hired 3 young-looking actresses to pose as 12-year-old girls for a documentary about online predators. Over the next 10 days, they received a combined 2,458 messages from sexual predators. Sarcasm is actually illegal in North Korea. In 2007, a woman died after drinking a little over a gallon of water in 3 hours. And she did it in order to win a Wii.
This pregnant woman was murdered and cut open by her friend. On October 9th, 2020, 29-year-old Taylor Parker was pulled over for speeding as she made her way home in Texas. Police noticed that there was a newborn baby in the passenger seat of her car, and when asked, Taylor said that she had just given birth. The officer quickly responded and got Taylor and the newborn baby medical attention, but when Taylor arrived to the hospital, she refused to get checked and the baby was pronounced dead. Not long after, police were called to 21-year-old Regan Hancock's home, where she was
face down and deceased. Regan's mother actually found her with her skull crushed, she was stabbed 100 times, and the most disturbing part was that her stomach was cut open and her baby was gone. After investigating, police arrested Taylor Parker for this heinous crime. Investigators later realized that Taylor and Regan were friends, and Taylor was very involved in Regan's pregnancy, even to the point that she photographed her maternity shoot. Taylor also faked her pregnancy for 9 months. She threw a gender reveal for her fake baby, she faked her due date, and she found out when Regan's due date was, and she made sure to murder her on that same day. It's been said that her motive was to save her relationship with her boyfriend by having a child, and since she couldn't have any more kids, she murdered her friend and tried to take her baby and pretend like it's hers. Taylor was sentenced to death and is now at the state prison in Gatesville, Texas.
A farmer's pig gave birth to this human baby, but when doctors scan its DNA, they immediately call the police. On a small farm located deep in the Cambodian forest.
10 quick fire facts you didn't know that could save your life one day. So sit down sharp and listen. Trust me, favorite this video so you can come back to it at any point if you need it. When a dog wags its tail, it doesn't always mean that it's being friendly. It can actually mean the opposite. Never mix bleach and ammonia because this can make a poisonous gas. If you're ever sinking in quicksand, lie down face up. This will disperse your weight, stopping you from sinking. If you're in a crowded space, make a mental note of all the exits. If a service dog ever comes up to you without its owner, follow them immediately. You could save someone's life. If you're about to get run over by a vehicle, jump and try and swoop yourself up onto the hood rather than fall into the ground. If your airplane crashes into water, do not inflate your life jacket until you are outside of the plane, because if the plane starts to fill up with water, you'll get trapped inside and won't be able to get out. When you're booking a ticket for a flight, book a middle seat in the back of the plane. If an alligator grabs you, good luck! No, I'm kidding. Shove your fingers in its nose. This breaks its airway seal, allowing water to flush in, and it has to let you go. Now send this to literally anyone, because you could save their life one day. Yo, Elon!
Those are some interesting facts, man. Especially about freaking shoving fingers in the alligator's nose. Would that really work? Where he at?
This man abused and murdered a 9-month-old baby so badly that America went out of their way to sign a petition so the government can publicly hang him. If you are easily triggered by really gruesome crimes, especially with children, then please take this as your warning. This is a super disturbing case. Get a number on me, and I typically always listen to crime videos. Back in 2016, 33-year-old Benjamin Taylor, remember that name, moved in with his girlfriend Amanda Atkins to West Virginia. Now, Amanda had recently had a baby. Her name was Emily. She was a very happy, lovable baby. She was only 9 months old at the time. Within 1 month of moving in with this man, oh my God, I can't just listen. So it's around 4 a.m, and Amanda had woken up to, probably the bathroom, check on her baby. So when she goes to the crib to check on Emily, she looks aside and Emily is not in her crib. She is a 9-month-old baby. She is not just gonna up and walk off. Amanda's mommy instincts kicked in like this. She knew that Benjamin was just gonna come and take her baby. He had just moved in. So she's running around the house looking everywhere for Emily. Now, she ends up in the basement. When Amanda took that last step going down towards the basement, all she saw was Benjamin.
75 passengers lost their lives after this pilot let his children in the cockpit. On March 23rd, 1994, an Aeroflot aircraft was flying from Russia to Hong Kong when the airplane tragically crashed. Only a few hours into the flight, one of the pilots allowed his 2 children who were also on the flight to enter the cockpit so that they can see how everything operated. The pilot's 16-year-old son Elder and his 12-year-old daughter Yana had the opportunity to sit in the pilot's seat and play around with the aircraft's controls. Of course, autopilot was on, so this was not supposed to be dangerous. Well, at least that's what he thought. The pilot told his son Elder that he can turn the plane to one side so he can experience what it was to fly a plane. Unfortunately, this disabled autopilot. The pilots were unaware that the plane began turning, but once they noticed, the plane had steepened to almost 90 degrees. The plane started to quickly descend while the pilots tried to figure out what was wrong. And there's actually an audio recording of how everything played out, and you can hear the fear in these pilots' voices. The plane plane ended up crashing on a mountain in Russia, killing all 75 passengers on board. After investigating, they said that the cause of the crash were the children who were playing with the controls in the aircraft. And it was said that if the pilots had left the controls alone rather than trying to fix them manually, the plane would have corrected itself.
People are saying you're...
That's why you don't let kids into the cockpit of the airplane, man. That was tragic.
Favorite celebrities are hanging out with a witch. As you can see, this woman is pretty friendly with a lot of celebrities. A$AP Rocky, Kim Kardashian, Kanye, even the Migos. But why are they so deeply connected with this woman? Her name is Michelle Lemmy, and it says she's a fashion designer, film producer, etc. But she's also married to Rick Owens, who is known as the Dark Lord of fashion. Look, here she is even wearing his head as a purse. Oh, and she's very close to Marina Abramovich, whose art is a little demonic. I mean, she once threw a party with a human-shaped cake. I kid you not. Look at this. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Is this just a connection for fashion, or is there something more darker going on? And make sure you guys hit that follow button, because my next video will blow your mind.
How rare is your body compared to the rest of the world? Favorite and comment on this video if you have any of these. First up, only 4% of people have Raynaud's syndrome. This is when part of your body, typically your fingers and toes, start to turn white when they're exposed to low temperatures. Only 16% of people can make a roaring sound in their head using their jaw. Now you can do this because you can control a small muscle in your jaw. Only 35% of people globally have 20/20 vision. That means 2/3 of the population cannot see perfectly. 10% of people are left-handed. As well, studies show these people typically live shorter lives. Only 5% of people globally have tongues that are tied. This is when your tongue is tied to the bottom of your mouth and typically will impact speech and eating. And probably the wildest one of all, only 11% of people in the world have brown hair.
Really?
And what you're looking at here is the greatest gift the Hmong people have given us, other than Sunny Lee. This is the Hmong dog, or the Hmong bobtail dog, or as I call him, the meow wolf. Because if the question is cat or dog and you can't commit, a puppy cat might be in your future. The pride of the Hmong people of Southeast Asia was forged in the mountains of Vietnam, likely while the Hmong pieced out of China for reasons. Some say this dog was a result of Chinese bobtails getting nasty with Vietnam jackals, and the resulting Hmong dog was used for hunting and guarding. Now you might ask what this cat dog could possibly guard you from other than low dopamine. Well, they're a lot tougher than you think, and they've been used by Vietnamese police as sniffing dogs, so if you try to bring some BS into their borders, you will have to see a professional snitch about it. Another thing is that their hunting history means they do not rock with cats, and yeah, that just sounds like a dog thing, but their prey drive means a cat can breathe, and a Hmong pup will take it personally. It'll go from cat to casualty real fast, and for a dog that looks feline in the face, that's probably why they're on site. They clock the fake, and one thing they don't tolerate is an imposter among us. But obviously, if you socialize them and know what you're getting into, they can be a great addition to your house. You might even get a Zui. Zui is a Hmong dog that went viral for... Well, I mean, how could this raccoon corgi not? Also, correct me if I'm wrong, I just might be, but apparently his name means raccoon. God bless this benevolent loaf of bread. And shout out to the Hmong people for baking him, the more you know.
You look like the Doge dog, bro. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Looks exactly like it. Out in the middle of the night taking pictures.
Listen to this crazy history that you didn't learn in school. A serial killer in New Orleans stated that he would kill again, but would spare the occupants of any place where a jazz band was playing. On that night, all the clubs reached capacity. Amateur bands played jazz music at hundreds of different house parties, and there were no murders. I think this guy was probably a big fan of jazz and just knew what he was doing to get more of it, I guess. From the year 1264 to 1827, anyone who received a Master of Arts degree from Oxford had to swear that they would never forgive Henry Simonis. But by 1608, no one knew who he was or what he had done. Before his acting career, Christopher Walken worked as a lion tamer in a circus at the age of 16 years old. He later said that he took that job because it was just too unique to pass up. The most significant temperature change in 24 hours happened in Loma, Montana in 1972, when the temperature rose by 103 degrees from negative 54 Fahrenheit to 49 degrees Fahrenheit. This is a 1950s ad for new homes with a pool costing $9,800. When you adjust that for inflation, it would only be about $118,000 today.
Urban legends caught on camera.
one leg doing that?
Things humans were never meant to see. Okay, first, this is how much pollen is actually in a tree. I can feel a sneeze coming on just watching that video. Bet you didn't know that beluga whales actually has knees. I'm pretty sure this is how the myth of the mermaid started. Don't quote me on that. Okay, we've all seen an alligator outside of the water, right? Well, this is what it looks like under the water. Who would have known? But honestly, it makes it seem a little less unscary. Okay, now everyone remembers the Teletubbies, right? And no, not your ugly neighbor next door. Not her. Well, this is what it looks like without having their heads on. Finally, this is how an octopus walks on land. This is genuinely horrifying. Never show me that again. Things that only exist in Japan. First, these are square watermelons. They're expensive and shaped by special equipment on farms. There's plenty of unique Kit Kat flavors in Japan. From chili, wasabi, roasted corn, sweet potato, soy, watermelon, and a bunch more. Buildings will often have parking for umbrellas. You know, just like they do for bikes. Traffic lights will actually turn blue instead of green. There's a restaurant chain for canned food, and some places just won't have the number 4. I don't know why. Like buildings will skip the 4th floor and just go straight to 5. Or items just won't be sold in packs of 4. They actually have really cool high-tech toilets. Some functions include playing music and warm water, and also heated seats. I need that. Automatic doors are a common feature in cabs. Oh, and also capsule hotels. They're just rooms that just have a bed and TV. Would you stay there?
His life was taken after accidentally entering the wrong home. On August 26th of this year, just before 2 a.m., officers were sent to a home on South Holly Street in Columbia, South Carolina. Those officers were called for a suspected home burglary. As officers were responding, the emergency call was then upgraded to a shots fired call. The officers found a victim on the front porch deceased with a gunshot wound to his upper body. The victim was identified as 20-year-old Nicholas Anthony Donofrio. Nicholas actually lived on the same street where the shooting happened, and he just accidentally entered the wrong home when he was shot. The police said that the shooter was a man who lived at the home, but they were not going to release his name since he was not going to be charged in this case. Nicholas had graduated high school in 2021 in Madison, Connecticut. The shooting came in less than 72 hours after the university's fall semester classes had just begun.
These two insane parents held their 13 kids captive for years. David and Louise Turpin lived with their 13 kids in the Texas suburbs. They registered their house as a school so they could teach their kids from home, but other than that, they seemed like a normal family from the outside. The kids were seen playing in their front yard all and even played with the neighbors from across the street. But the neighbors began noticing some strange behaviors, like the kids marching in a circle at night and digging through the neighbor's trash. One night, the neighbor found the Turpin's oldest daughter running down the street frantically as if she was trying to escape something. So the neighbors picked her up and drove her back to her house, assuming she was mentally unstable due to her weird behavior and her dirty appearance. After that, the parents decided to move to this house in Oceanside, California. But only a week later, police received a phone call from a 17-year-old saying she had just escaped her house and that her siblings were still being held captive. Within minutes, police arrived at the house, but you won't believe what they found inside.
Stop scrolling because this has to be one of the scariest ghost stories ever. Just last month, a man died after claiming that a ghost was trying to kill him. The man was a Russian tourist staying in Thailand, and he reportedly fell to his death from the 9th floor of a condo. According to reports, he had approached a security guard on May 22nd, and what he told them was terrifying. He told them that he was being hunted by a murderous ghost with bulging eyes. After running all over the building, he ended up falling to his death from the 9th floor window. The guard later stated that the man was completely out of it. He kept saying that the ghost with bulging eyes was chasing him and trying to kill him. The guard said that he was terrified and running up and down the building like a madman. Another resident of the building claimed to have heard his screams just before the fall. They said that he was yelling in an awful voice, and that it was like something out of a horror film. The witness said that until the incident, the Russian tourist seemed completely normal. The police said that they found no evidence of an altercation or break-in, and
somebody in this damn room.
Iron Eyes Yeast presents Light Out. everybody.
SeaWorld just got caught hiding a real mermaid. If you didn't know, there was rumors that SeaWorld was hiding a lab underground that had mermaids and an actual megalodon. And someone found something terrifying. So this man, David Seinfeld, decided to go sneaking around SeaWorld and see if he could actually find anything under the orca's show tank, where the employees' area is. So that's where he looked. 30 minutes after looking in the area, he found a door that said employees only. When walking through it, he only came across a hallway. You know, the ones with the huge tanks over your head and the sharks and stingrays swim over? Nothing out of the ordinary, right? But then he got to a metal door. The sign said classified. No employees allowed. So of course he decides to go through it. He claims that there was a huge lab with 2 mermaids in it, swimming in what looked like a giant indoor tank. Now it didn't look like a normal mermaid. It had blubbery skin almost like a dolphin, webbed fingers, and these gill-like holes in its neck. And of course he took pictures and videos of it. If you want to see the footage, you can't, because this is just one big creepypasta. Send this to a friend if you want to prank them.
What is one true crime case that you just can't stop thinking about? I always wonder what really happened to 6-year-old Catherine Corzilius. On August 7th, 1996, Catherine, along with her mom Nancy and her brother Chris, were out running errands. Catherine's dad was Paul Corzilius, who at the time was the tour manager for John Bon Jovi. That day was Paul's birthday, so they were all out looking for a present for him. They all lived on Elder Circle, which is a small neighborhood near Austin, Texas. When they got back to Elder Circle, Catherine wanted to pick up the mail from the community mailbox and then walk home. The mailboxes were only about 1/8 of a mile from their home, and Catherine had done this a few times before, so her mom let her. Catherine would take the shorter route home, while her mom and brother would take the longer route around Elder Circle. This way, they would be getting home at almost the same time. But once Nancy and Chris got home with still no sign of Catherine, Nancy sent Chris to go and look for her. But when Chris couldn't find her, Nancy started searching for her by car. Within minutes, they found her laying in the middle of the road on Elder Circle. She was unconscious but still breathing. According to Nancy, she didn't want to make her daughter lay on the hot pavement, so she picked her up and took her to the hospital. Little Catherine suffered from a fractured skull and never regained consciousness, and sadly, she died later that day. Authorities initially thought that Catherine was a victim of a hit and run, but certain things didn't add up. Where Catherine's body was found was in an unusual spot. Her mom last saw her walking towards their house, but her body was found a little over a mile away from their home in the opposite direction that she was supposed to have gone. Catherine's body was actually found along the route that her mom and brother took to get home, and the autopsy only deepened the mystery. The autopsy showed that Catherine didn't die from a hit and run. Along with her head injury, she also had abrasions on her left shoulder, lower back, right hip, and her knees. The ME found that Catherine had either jumped, fallen, or was thrown from a moving vehicle. One theory investigators came up with was that Catherine maybe tried to hold on to the back of her mom's car on the drive home, but fell off. This would explain the location of where her body was found. But her family did not believe this, so they hired a PI. The PI noted that it was a really hot summer day, and at the time, Catherine's left thumb was broken and in a splint, so it would have been really difficult for her to hold on to anything. And it's likely her mom would have seen her in the rearview mirror. Catherine's family believes she was abducted and murdered. After her death, investigators brought in a canine unit that tracked her scent to a vacant lot 30 yards from the mailboxes, but it was lost after that. This sparked a theory that Catherine was approached by an attacker at the mailboxes, ran into the lot, was caught and thrown into a car, struck in the head, and then was thrown out of the vehicle where she was found. Nancy also stated that it appeared her daughter's body was laid out for her to find. Her hair was smoothed down, her clothes were straight, and her sandals were still on. Unfortunately, there's never been any answers in this case, and it's still labeled a suspicious death. John Bon Jovi wrote a song dedicated to Catherine called August 7, 415. And sadly, in March of 2020, Catherine's brother Chris, who grew up to be a police officer, was tragically killed in a car accident.
Welcome back to Female Murderer TikTok. This one's about Nanny Doss. Buckle up. Nanny and her husband had 4 kids. 2 of them died back-to-back from poisonings. The husband was like, something ain't right, and then he took the kids and left. So Nanny gets remarried, kills him, buys a house and land with the insurance money, and is like, oh, I like this. She reunites with her daughter. Her daughter's like, hey, can you watch my baby for a little bit? And she's like, totally. And then the baby dies in like 3 days. And then it starts to get lethal. She marries her 3rd husband. He dies that year. Her mom breaks her hip and she's like, I'll take care of you. She's dead. Both of her sisters die in the same year in different towns, all while Nanny's visiting. She marries her 4th husband. He doesn't even make it a few months. Then she marries her 5th husband. He dies a month later. But finally, in that autopsy, they were like, there's a lot of rat poison in this guy. Did you do this? And then Nanny goes, yeah, I did that to all of them. So she gets life in prison, and before she dies, they interview her, and they're like, why did you do it? Was it for the money? And she goes, money? I was bored.
That is a different type of demon, man. She said just because she was bored, she caused all that destruction. Mind blowing. And the hotel bathroom again, man. Gotta be careful.
They built a guillotine in their shrine. On April 15th of 2023, the Makwana family stood outside a small shack in their village in India. Heimu and Hansa brought their children ages 12 and 13 to have a sleepover with their uncle and cousins. The children rushed inside to greet their relatives, and Heimu and Hansa reminded them to be good, and everyone just seemed happy. The uncle reassured the parents that the children would be fine and they would have a great night. They thanked him, turned around, and walked hand in hand down the dirt road that would lead them home. As they were walking hand in hand, they were feeling grateful for the family that they had, and Hansa was wearing a deep red dress while Heimu was wearing a white button-down shirt, something that they wouldn't wear very often. Their home was described as a simple brick and concrete structure, but instead of going inside, they went towards the back of their home where a handmade tent was. And this tent wasn't a shelter, it was a sacred ground. Inside of that tent, they had a personal shrine to the Hindu god Shiva, Lord of Destruction and Rebirth. This space was for prayers and offerings. But over the past couple of days, the couple had been constructing something new inside. It resembled a door frame without a door, and it had a long white rope. No one knew this yet, but it was a guillotine. Later that night, the couple went inside of that tent and decided to work quickly. They built a fire in the center of the shrine and scattered orange flower petals around Shiva. Next, Heimu took a pen and started to write a letter, and him and his wife put their thumbprints at the bottom as a signature. They folded the note and placed it carefully between the Shiva image and statue. Together, they knelt by the guillotine and recited a prayer. The parents weren't struggling, they weren't in debt, they were a happy family with their children, so they couldn't figure out why they would want to do this. Police started to believe that this may have been an act of black magic. There were no charges to file, no suspects to pursue, just two children remembering their parents the last time they saw them, happy, loving, and in their finest clothes.
Every single holiday that we celebrate is celebrating one of the 7 deadly sins. Valentine's Day represents lust. Thanksgiving, that celebrates the sin of
gluttony. Yeah, because you're
eating a lot. You're overeating. Christmas, what do you think that is?
Christmas. Greed?
Greed.
Yeah.
Overconsumption and excess. Celebrating gifts. We're not really even celebrating like the birth of Christ because people are so focused on the gifts and shit. The holiday of Easter, what sin would it be?
Easter.
Say it's envy because the Romans were jealous of Jesus, so they murdered him.
Oh.
It's crazy. St. Patrick's Day, it's sloth because people get blacked out drunk.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah. Now Halloween is what? It's wrath. Okay. So scaring and hurting people for fun. With masks, it's wrath.
Oh.
The sin of pride.
Okay, what's that?
Nah, we're not even gonna say that.
7 deadly sins represent the holidays.
There's a really famous mystery called the Dyatlov Pass. It's about these 9 really experienced hikers in the 50s. They set off on this journey and they reached the first checkpoint, but they didn't make it to the second checkpoint. And there was a big search that goes out to make sure they're okay. The army gets involved and they go and follow the route to find the hikers. And they come across these prints in the snow that led down the mountain. And some of the prints were bare feet, some had 1 shoe and 1 barefoot. And it's all 9 of the hikers. And they find 3 of the hikers, and they're all deceased. And there's one who's naked. There's one who's up in one of the trees, and there's these deep gouges on the tree as if some animal had been scratching at this tree. There's more footprints that lead away from those 3, and the footprints lead where the other 6 hikers were, and they're all deceased as well. And the women were wearing men's clothing and vice versa. Some of their clothes had trace levels of radiation, and some of them had parts of their face removed, it looked like. Lips, nose, ears, it almost looked like surgical precision removal. There was a person in there who their chest had basically been caved in, but there's no sign of anything that could have done this damage. And suddenly the Soviet government says, we're going to shut this investigation down. All we know is that the 9 hikers who died from an unknown, unnatural force. Sealed.
That's the truth.
Bleed blue.
The blue man. You're starting off hot already.
Normal looking photos with disturbing backstories, part 2. This Snapchat was the last photo ever taken of Sydney Loof, a woman who was killed by her Tinder date. Her body was cut into 14 different pieces, and when it was brought back to the morgue, it was in 6 different bags. This man was transferring oxygen tanks for 12 boys in their coach. He didn't have enough oxygen for himself, however, and died after losing consciousness in one of the cave's passageways. This man is Issei Sagawa, an actual cannibal from Japan. This photo was taken by a Japanese magazine after he was released from prison for insanity. The man in this photo, Franklin Floyd, married a woman and had custody over her children while she was in prison for 30 days. The girl in this photo is one of her children, whom Floyd kidnapped to start a new life with. He left the other siblings behind, and after this photo was taken, he went to another state, changed both of their names, and claimed her as his biological daughter. Later, he went on to marry her.
Do you think like a psychopath? Specialists have actually agreed that if you can answer this riddle easily, you might be a psychopath. An explorer and his crew were stranded in the Arctic for several months. When they were finally rescued, the explorer was reunited with his wife, to which he told her all the stories about how their ship crashed and the captain had to feed the remaining crew penguins while they huddled on the ice together in order to survive. A few days later, the explorer's wife became curious and decided to try penguin for herself. Now, despite the explorer's experience, he agreed to eat some with her. However, immediately after, he began to cry and ran out of the room. Shortly later, he unalived himself. But why? Now send this to a friend. Let's see if you're friends with a psychopath.
Kids songs with dark backstories, part 1. Firstly, we've all heard the child song, Ring Around the Rosie, right? Well, there's a popular theory that it was actually based on the bubonic plague. Supposedly, the rosy part of the song refers to the red visible rash people would get with the bubonic plague, and the pocket full of posies refers to people putting flowers in their pocket because they thought it would stop them from getting sick. And where it refers to ashes, ashes, we all fall down, this refers to people who unfortunately passed away. But remember, this is just a theory. Next, I'm sure we've all also heard the kid song, Do Your Ears Hang Low? Well, the first record of this song comes from World War I, and instead of saying ears, they actually said nuts.
Hey man, we know, like I said, watching these clips together, man, how these songs and shows, they be based off some dark things, so you can't put it past you, man. Our classic kid songs are based on the bubonic plague. You're gonna have to look into that one.
Fun facts about the human body PT.2. If someone is sleeping and you blow on their eyes won't react. But if they're awake, they will flutter a bit. That's how you check if someone is really sleeping. If you drink nothing but purple Powerade for 3 days straight, your poop will turn neon green. Your sense of balance is strongly linked to your eyes, and you may notice it's harder to keep your balance with them closed even if you're standing still. Women are actually programmed to forget the pain of childbirth after a few months or so. If this didn't happen, most women would only end up having 1 child, which would eventually lower the population.
That makes sense, especially that last fact.
This is the disturbing truth about the Teletubbies. The Teletubbies is a dark nightmare about genetically engineered slave creatures being systematically trained to become part of our society. They are not in control of their own destiny. 3 things control their day-to-day lives. First is the voice, a tiny female voice that tells them when to eat, when to sleep, and when to say goodbye. The robotic voice comes from a speaker in the ground, hinting that something larger lies beneath. Second is Nunu, a harmless vacuum cleaner robot who wanders after the Teletubbies, cleaning up their messes that they made and yelling at them for bad decisions. Nunu is the watchdog of the Teletubbies. Next is the pinwheel. When the pinwheel spins, the Teletubbies stop whatever they are doing and run to the top of the hill to perform a ritual. The Teletubbies just follow rules and listen to other beings. Teletubbies is simply a warning about the darkness of the human spirit as it ages. The Teletubbies is about the end of the world.
So they're just some programs.
This is the scary theory about Bob Ross. Up first, we all know who Bob Ross is. He's a very famous painter who is known for his bright attitude and his very calm demeanor. But people think Bob Ross was a serial killer, and every single one of his paintings is where he buried the bodies. People are saying this because this painting by Bob Ross is called Happy Little Accidents. Nothing special, right? But this is where they found 5 female bodies that were half eaten and dead. The painting in this location are almost identical, and this might raise the question, was Bob Ross a serial killer?
What do you think, Seekers? Was he? Was
The
that
most disturbing
coincidence?
phone number in the world, part 2. In 2005, in a quiet luxury neighborhood in California, lay a family of 6. The road they lived on is called Devil's Ladder, and things are about to take a demonic turn. The father is laying down one night at 3:30 in the morning while everybody in the house is sleeping. He gets up, picks up his 9mm pistol, and slowly starts creeping down the hallways. One by one, he shoots each of his children in the head while they're sleeping. He then made his way down to his last 2 victims. The last 2 victims of this heinous crime were his own mother and his wife. After everyone else in the house was dead, he made his way downstairs, picked up the cell phone, and made one last phone call.
911, state your emergency. Sheriff's Department, how can I help you?
I was able to find the original phone number using Spy Dialer, and as you can see on your screen now, it says he's deceased and the number's disconnected. However, when you call this number today, this is what plays.
Okay, does anyone else hear footsteps? If so, whose footsteps are these?
Make sure to like and follow for more videos tomorrow.
He really went in depth with that one, man. I know you can hear the footsteps in the background. It's kind of weird that the number is still, like, you can call it to this day and hear that. It was just a tragic story, man.
A time traveler from 2671 has warned us. Now yes, a time traveler has posted on TikTok several dates which humanity need to look out for. And none of these events were good, so make sure to save this video so we can look back to see if he was right. The first comes on 8th of December 2022. A large meteor, but not extinction level, will hit Earth, bringing with it an alien species and unknown materials. That sounds like it's straight out of the plot of A Quiet Place. Just 12 days later, on the 30th of December, there will be a 9.8 magnitude earthquake which will open a hole in the Mariana Trench. This large earthquake will apparently release the largest species humanity has ever witnessed. And 2023 is not looking much better, because this is the year we apparently find massive species of already known animals, such as a 3-foot spider and an 18-foot bear. And said this to literally anyone you know, because apparently in 2023 we're getting 3-foot long spiders. If that does come true, Mars anyone? Yo, Elon!
That was all
Here's
cap.
the
It
truth
never
behind
happened.
Thomas the Train. In a 1984 episode of Thomas the Tank Engine, there was a big green train engine named Henry pulling a passenger train. He runs into a tunnel and stops at the end, not wanting to go any further. Henry's driver argued with him, but he refuses to get out. He claimed the rain would wreck his brand new green paint. So the workers decided to get revenge on him and built a big brick wall in front of him so he could never get out. They then abandoned him and his body is still there today.
What? Hey, justice for that
Why
man,
is
bro.
nobody talking about this photo? See, in Southeast Asia, there was a giant sinkhole that researchers noticed had its own ecosystem. I mean, inside it had its own body of water, its own clouds, rivers, lakes. It had a self-sustaining atmosphere. Don't mind these, I was just fixing my car. Let me get rid of them for you. Pretty good. So a team of explorers got funded to go and search the sinkhole. They were mainly looking for prehistoric plants so they can use for medicine and further research. But what they found was even crazier. They found never before seen animals that were out of this world. I'm talking crustaceans, reptiles, mammals, all throughout the voyage. Everything seemed to be going smooth until it didn't, because this is where it gets scary. The team had stopped reporting to the research lab. They were supposed to be sending back updates every couple of hours of what they found. They were only supposed to be down there for 7 days, but turned up missing for 2 weeks. That's double time of what they were funded for. When the rescue team was sent to go search and find them, they found clothes and tents that were ripped to shreds. Traces of blood were also found on the ground. When checking the camera equipment, they found all the new species that the explorers had taken pictures of. But the last image on one of the cameras was this photo. But before I continue, you and your third app see this creature in the woods. Your third app says, "Don't worry, I'll protect us." Let me know who it is, and let me know if you believe you're safe or doomed with them on your side. But from the picture, scientists concluded that it is bigger, stronger, and possibly faster than us. And their worry is that there might be more of these, and the sinkhole allowed them to escape and be released into the outside world.
We gonna have to check up on that sinkhole, man. They need to close that
An
thing
80
down.
million-year-old prehistoric shark was just discovered in Japan. Check out the video.
80 million years old, and we just now seeing it. That's scary, bro. We didn't discover all of
Friendly reminder,
our
you would
ocean.
not survive a day in the wild. If you ever imagined how you'd survive a lion attack and thought you could hide in a tree, nope, they got that too. We got lion climbing trees, and the crazy thing is, they didn't always do this. Lions normally don't even rock with trees like that. It's not like they can't. They're cats. It comes with a contract. But it's the getting down part that they struggle with. They're not leopards, and bigger lions that fall can end up dislocating something. And these are lions. Going on injury reserve ain't an option. But the funny thing about lions, if they're not good at something, watch them find a way to be great. There's actually a population of tree climbing lions in Queen Elizabeth National Park in Uganda. Apparently, one lion figured they could chill in the trees to get away from insects and the heat, and now they got the whole pride doing it. They even teach the cubs to be part-time arboreal as soon as they're old enough. Well, actually not too old, because the mothers do use climbing to get away from them. Real. Somewhere are leopards swearing appropriation. And like I said, this isn't normal. Seeing lions in a tree is like seeing lions on the beach. You never see it happen. Scientists think the lions figured out that they can use the trees and climbing to keep tabs on their prey without actually giving themselves away. Also, they look so cozy up there. I really think they just caught a vibe and climbed with it. But yeah, even a bigger male can get up there if it means they can steal a leopard's leftovers. Moral of this video, lions, find a way.
Here are 3 weird facts about your body that you didn't know. Number 1, on the palm of your hand, there's over 1,000 different types of bacteria living on it right now. Yikes. Number 2, all of us humans are 99% genetically the same. So technically we're all related? That one's kind of weird. Number 3, whenever you smile, it's actually scientifically impossible to not touch the tongue to the roof of your mouth. Oh, I'm just kidding, but you have a great smile. Let's go, I got you, I made you smile. Share this video with some friends and make them smile too.
I knew that last one was kind of cap. I'm like, what? Your tongue doesn't touch the touch of the root of your mouth. I knew that one was cap. The thing that got to me is just how everybody's like 99.9% the same. So he said if you think about it in the way we all related, man. Why can't we just have world peace
Something
then?
that we have not talked about yet is mermaids. Are they real? Is there any proof of them? Let me tell you. While digging deep on the internet, I found this following video that I'm about to show you. Now it's very busy and loud, so you need to focus to see what I'm trying to show you. As you can see, we could very, very clearly see a hand of a person that's attached at the knuckles, violently fighting to get out of the net that they were caught in. You don't just catch humans in the water. Now look at this hand. This is what scientists think the hands of mermaids look like. And I'm going to show you the hand from the video, and you can see that they're the same. Not to mention, there are a lot of pictures of dried up mermaid skeleton that are unexplained. Now what we technically think mermaids are beautiful women and men who swim around all day and sound magical and just safe, happy creatures. But that's not what people think it is. They're thought to look weird, alien-like. And when they make sounds, they screech. They don't sing. They're scaly all over, not just their tail. And they're just overall harsh, evil creatures. I personally believe they exist because 70% of the sea is undiscovered. So how do we think we know they don't? Tell me what you think.
It's a possibility, very strongly.
Adventurous travels has died in a freak snowstorm in the Swedish wilderness. Storm de Boel was found dead after getting caught in a devastating blizzard. The night before, he sent his grandmother a tragic final message. It's snowing heavily here, but don't worry, I'll survive, you know. His mother believed his tent must have blown away or been destroyed in the storm, leaving him without any shelter in the freezing temperatures. He was able to contact emergency services, but by the time they were able to search for him, it was tragically too late. He was just 22.
Do you know the craziest conspiracy theory about one of Hollywood's most beloved actors, Keanu Reeves, that he's immortal and has lived multiple lives? This conspiracy started when theorists noticed that one of the most prolific Holy Roman emperors of all time, Charlemagne, looks a lot like Keanu Reeves, from the eyes to the nose to the cheekbones. Even though Charlemagne was born in the year 748, the theory goes that he was powerful, rich, and of high enough status that he was asked to join the New World Order or the Illuminati, and given the opportunity to be immortal, so when he would die, he would reincarnate. So here he pops up again in the 1500s in this very famous painting, Portrait of a Man, with the man who has the exact same face as Keanu Reeves. Then in the 1800s, another very famous man, a poet by the name of James Russell Lowell, pops up looking exactly like Keanu Reeves. Then right on schedule in the 1900s, a very famous actor of the time, Paul Mounet, happens to look just like Keanu Reeves. Here's another photo. As we go, the photos get higher quality, and as Keanu is immortal and lives all these lives, he acquires more knowledge and wisdom about how to achieve success over and over again to become all these prolific men. And Keanu doesn't deny it, so before I tell you what he has to say about this, make sure you follow so you find out the craziest conspiracy theories about each of these celebrities and request who you want to see next.
You've just been around, there's just different generations.
We're all stardust, baby. I can see it, we have a likeness in the eyes, and the nose, and the mustache, and the beard, and the cheekbones, and the forehead. Look at that guy. That's the real... Oh.
He didn't deny it.
This is a true horrifying story, part 29.
That's
is an
interesting.
Old famous story known as The Boy and the Jinn. This story took place in Nottingham, England in the early 90s. There is a massive abandoned building that has 120 rooms, many dorms, and very big halls. The building was bought to start an Islamic madrasa, meaning school for boys. They renovated the place and scheduled classes. When the school started, all the students were warned and restricted from accessing the west side of the building. No reasons given, just no one is allowed to go to the west side of the school. One of the students, let's give him a name. His name is Imran. Imran was 13 years old at the time, and he's from Bangladesh. He does not speak a word of English nor Arabic. The only language Imran spoke was Bengali. Imran was a quiet kid. He didn't have any friends. He always walked alone, sleeps alone, and eats alone. One day, Imran strays off to the west side of the building on his own, the side that he was restricted from accessing. He comes back after a while with a Quran in his hand. He goes to the Quran teacher and tells him, "Test me in Arabic." Remember, he does not speak a word in any other language but Bengali. The teacher laughs it off and starts to test him out. Verse after verse, he realizes that this student memorized the whole Quran efficiently, and everyone was extremely shocked about this. On that same night, all the students head to their dorms and go to sleep. During the middle of the night, they banged the principal's room, screaming, "There's a jinn, there's a jinn." The principal found out that while the students were asleep, the walls in their dorm would bang and scratch, and there will be voices coming out the walls saying the name Imran. Then it all added up. They figured out that Imran was possessed by a jinn that was a hafiz of the Quran. So an Islamic exorcism wouldn't really do much. The sheikh would put his hand on Imran and recite the ayat, but the jinn would come back with the following verse to break the exorcism. The ruqya cannot work on a jinn that memorized the Quran. And the jinn himself is challenging the raqi on who knows the Quran better. One of the imams that witnessed this whole situation asked to send Imran back home for 1 month, and that should treat his situation. They send him home. He comes back after 1 month, not knowing any Arabic, not knowing any English, doesn't know anything about the Quran, the same old quiet kid. And no one ever dared going near the west side of the building after what happened to Imran.
So he was possessed by a jinn, sent home for a month, and it went away. We know him, man. He be telling the jinn stories. And there's validity to it. That's from he does all that research for it. Gotta
It's
take
because
that
of the
into
most
account.
athletically disrespectful creatures on Earth. There's no situation where a cat needs to be doing any of that. You see, leopards had a problem. I'm sorry, Zevi, it's too catchy. They live in Africa, but they don't weaponize the power of friendship like lions or hyenas, or a clan of Cujos, or even baboon mafia. Being a solo dolo hunter, well, you see how that goes for cheetahs. They literally have anxiety, but leopards have something cheetahs don't. Two things, actually. They're the best climbers of any cat, and pound for pound, they're the strongest, and these are cats we're talking about. They're plenty OP already. Basically, you got Teen Titans Robin in the form of a weaponized panther. Huh, that is a rhino. Yeah, that is a giraffe. And being able to climb means they can dodge the same smoke that gets cheetahs cooked. So not only do leopards have the longest grocery list of a big cat with like 90-something animals, they have the widest range of any too. But they're also crafty enough to live right next to people. They will pull up to your front door in some places. And because leopards can and will murk anything, in some places they realize that pet dogs are easy calories. I can't show you this video, but by the grace of God and plot armor, the dog made it. Also, hot take, the most dangerous predator is a predator with predators. And since leopards get got by lions and tigers too, they're much more likely to be on site with people if they feel threatened. So yeah, leopards are a flex and my second favorite big cat. What's the first? the more you know.
Donald Trump is now saying that the only way out for TikTok is a 50-50 split with America. But we, as the people of TikTok, deserve a say on who is our next leader. So let me show you your options. First up, we got Elon. I mean, for starters, there's no arguing the man's intelligence. I mean, bro might already have a Neuralink, for all we know. In terms of experience, he has multiple highly successful businesses in all types of industries, including social media. But X, still a bit of work in progress. In terms of aura, I mean, if we're gonna rank this off of like someone like Obama's walk, then for Elon, it's a 0 for low taper fade, which could be the most important metric to own TikTok. He does have a political bias, which could influence company policy. And as for wealth, bro's almost half a trillionaire. That's crazy. Okay, fine. Plus 10 aura points for that. Next we ask, should we sell to Zuck? I mean, love him or hate him, he's a smart guy. And still to this day, unlike other companies the size of Meta, he retains 100% decision-making control for the company. He has over 3 billion people using his apps, so TikTok would likely be in safe hands, but that doesn't make up for the lack of aura. In fact, he's notoriously aura-free. -1. His low taper fade is down horrendous. His bias is whoever's in office at the time, and he's the 4th richest person in the entire world. So bro could easily make an offer that ByteDance would be happy with. Next, we have the first person to actually put in an offer to try and buy and save TikTok, Kevin O'Leary. He's founded and sold multiple companies, and he's a highly successful, old-school businessman, which might be what we need. His experience with social media, definitely lacking, but considering the type of businessman he is, he'll probably just put the right people in place to run it. Measuring aura is not a scientific endeavor. It's more, when you see it, you know it. And for Kevin here, I don't feel moved. I think he actually gets a good 10 points for his reverse low taper fade. In terms of bias, he's middle right, so that does seem to be more on economic matters rather than social issues. And as for wealth, actually surprisingly lower than you would expect. And then we got to talk about Mr. Beast. I mean, starting with, if there's anyone that we're going to call a social media genius, it will be him. As for experience, he is only 26 and he's never been in charge of an actual social media platform. But then on the other hand, he's got almost 500 million followers. If there's anyone that will know what users and creators want on TikTok, it'll be him. His aura, I mean, again, vibe-based thing, doesn't have the Obama walk. And while we still don't see a low taper fade, it's the best of our options, so 1 point. He doesn't seem to have any political bias. And while bro is definitely not like app buying rich like Zuck or Elon, he did say that he's gonna get help from other billionaires. That also makes us less confident that he can put in an offer that's gonna sweep ByteDance off their little feet. So there are your options. So who do you choose to be TikTok's next supreme leader?
If someone is trying to make you decide in a hurry, they are probably giving you a bad deal. Walk away. If someone has a panic attack, start breathing regularly and loudly. The person that is panicking will subconsciously start breathing in rhythm with you. When a group of people laugh, they tend to look at the person they like the most. Nervousness and excitement have the same body reaction, so if you're nervous for a speech, trick yourself into thinking you're actually excited. If you think someone is watching you, fake a yawn, then watch them. Get someone to contribute to an idea and they will more likely accept it. If you whisper to someone, it's more likely they will whisper back even if there's no good reason to lower your voice. If you want to make someone feel uncomfortable, look at their forehead while you're talking to them. If you want somebody to open up to you, ask them a question. If the person only partially answers it, remain silent and keep eye contact. This will pressure the person into talking more. If you want to be more persuasive, reduce the use of the words I think and I believe. Touching someone on their shoulder or on their knee creates a stronger emotional bond with that person. Chew gum if you are still nervous. Our brains assume that if we are eating, then we are not in any immediate danger, lowering our fight or flight response. When you approach a group of people, notice if they turn their feet towards you or away from you. If their feet point away from you, you are probably not welcome. Subtly nodding when people are talking to you indicates that you are genuinely interested in what they are having to say and they're going to like you more. If you take a moment to look at someone's eye color when meeting them, you'll be giving them the perfect amount of eye contact. If there is a mirror behind where you are ordering, you are less likely to be rude because nobody wants to see themselves actually be rude. If you buy the first pitcher at the bar with your friends, you'd be surprised how far you could go by saying, I bought the first one. If someone is making jokes at your expense, act like you can't hear them and ask them to repeat it multiple times. By the time they say it a third or fourth time, nobody's laughing. When someone remembers you, they are most likely going to remember the first memory and the last memory of you. So make sure you always leave a good last impression too. After you have learned how to do something new and have done it yourself, the fastest way to retain that information is to teach somebody else. If you have a song stuck in your head and you can't get it out, try and listen to the whole song all the way through while singing it. Your brain is treating the song like an unfinished task in your subconscious. Plan something for every Wednesday that you can look forward to. You'll start to look forward to it on Monday, and by the time Wednesday comes around, you're already halfway through the week and almost to the weekend. If you ask someone to do a small favor for you, their subconscious mind is going to register that they like you because they're doing a favor for you. Showing the palms of your hands while talking to someone subconsciously communicates that you have nothing to hide and that you can be trusted. Whenever you're introducing a new idea to someone and you lead with the words, "This might not be for you, but," it intrigues their interest and makes it feel like it probably is for them. If you need to remember to do something tomorrow, put something in your room out of place. If you don't want to get out of bed, throw your pillow across the room. The next day, you will see this item out of place and it will jog your memory of what you need to accomplish. If you're procrastinating, just stop telling yourself how much work you have to do. This will overwhelm you. Instead, tell yourself you only have to work for 5-10 minutes, and then you're likely going to continue working past those minutes. People who are lying will normally blink more than normal, hide the palms of their hands, glance up to the right, mess with their hair, or use abnormally long sentences. If you're trying to get over a breakup, do not use fictional scenarios. Imagining your person with someone new is only going to make you more angry and sad about something that's not even real. If you want to create a deeper connection with someone you're interested in, ask them these two questions. What do you think we have in common? And what do you like most about me? If you are suffering from racing thoughts, use the 3-3-3 rule. Name 3 things you see, 3 things you hear, and 3 parts of your body. This will help center your mind and bring you back to the present. When someone apologizes for something that you don't feel like was that big of a deal to apologize for, they're probably telling you subconsciously what actually bothers them if it was done to them. If they apologize for interrupting you, they probably really just don't like being interrupted themselves. Follow for more psychology hacks.
Mm-hmm.
You've been on the phone the whole entire ride.
And you can get out right here.
Worst
Oh, she clocking that.
driver I've ever had.
I'm taking care of business.
Okay. I don't have to hear your whole conversation.
You can get out. I'm gonna end the ride.
I am about to get out. We're at the airport.
That's not what I'm doing in my car. This is getting to be ridiculous. Where's your car?
Oh.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
Rude.
I'm not rude.
Worst Uber driver. You will get 1 star for me.
You think I care about some stars? I'm trying to find out about my car. You talking about some stars?
Just let me out.
But you're in my car. But you're in my car.
Just let me out.
But you're in my car. I can't even talk to the insurance people. They need my information.
Is this how you treat your passengers?
What passenger?
Okay, you can let me out right here.
I'm trying to get my car taken care of. I'm pulling over right now.
Ma'am, please.
You ain't
Okay.
saying nothing. You got your seatbelt on? Yeah, bounce.
I'm glad I got this one. Are you crazy?
No, I'm not.
How do I get out this car? Oh my gosh.
That was
I could
insane.
have hit my head or something. How do I pop the trunk? Can you please pop the trunk? This is crazy. This lady has been on the phone the whole entire time talking. I can't even hear the person I'm on the phone with. Can you pop the trunk, please?
It's a request.
It's a request?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Please.
No. Thank you, though.
Little bit.
No. But thank you for the ride home.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
Only,
nice.
Please.
No.
Can I touch you on lick? Only lick.
No. No.
Okay, well, he a freak. Talking about, can I lick your leg? Ooh, no. Hey, man, this is making me skeptical, bro. Those lifting Ubers, man.
No. That is so strange. No! Just because you say please. Unlock the door, please. Thank you. No, sorry. No, that's so weird. I already said no like 5 times.
What?
I already said no like 5 times. I said no.
Can I Can you give me contact?
No, absolutely.
The Uber driver.
Can't take a nail.
Be careful who you let in your car. A father of two disappeared one night after picking up a passenger at 3 o'clock in the morning. Let me explain. This father of two was doing Uber for 5 years. He would do Uber at nighttime when he get off of work from his first job. This Uber driver always kept a camera on his windshield for his protection. Somebody accused him of being drunk before, and he never drank a day in his life, and his account was deactivated. So he made sure he always kept a camera. One night at 3 o'clock in the morning, he went to pick someone up. The neighborhood looked very dark and suspicious, and there was a lot of abandoned houses in the neighborhood. When the Uber driver got in the neighborhood, he was going very slow, so you can tell he was a little nervous. At one point, he stopped. It looked like he probably was going to cancel the ride. He went ahead and drove through the neighborhood to pick the passenger up. When he got to the house, it looked abandoned. When the Uber driver got to the house, trash was in the front yard. No lights was on. It just looked very suspicious. The Uber driver waited for about 4 minutes. A guy came running from the back of the house. He had a black hoodie on. When the passenger got in the Uber driver car, he greeted him and said, "How are you tonight?" The passenger didn't make no eye contact with him. He was just looking straight and he ignored him. So the Uber driver drove off and took him to his destination. As the Uber driver was getting closer to the passenger destination, the road was very dark and he didn't see a lot of houses. So the Uber driver then asked the passenger, "Are you sure this is the right address? Because it looked like we're in the middle of nowhere." The passenger then raised his weapon at the Uber driver head and made him get out the car. That was the last time he was seen alive. 10 minutes later, after the passenger and the Uber driver got out the car, the passenger returned by himself 10 minutes later. When the passenger got back in the car, he ripped his dash camera off. That was the last time anybody seen the car until the car was found abandoned about 2 weeks later. Law enforcement found the Uber driver body almost a month later. He was shot 2 times. If you are Uber or Lyft driver, you need to be very careful. This happened all the time. A woman with 4 kids lost her life the exact same way. She begged for her life on camera and the guy still took her life just to steal her car. Not long ago, a guy with 5 children and a wife lost his life the same way. The guy took his life just to steal his Honda Accord.
How come we don't be hearing about that? You'd think that would be like talked about all the time. If Uber or Lyft drivers see that trending somewhere. Are people hiding these stories? Because this is my first time hearing about it. That's why I searched the freaking web, man, to find these stories, seeking the truth with you guys.
How are you today? Prosecutors played what could be their most compelling evidence against Calvin Crew. 20 minutes of dashcam footage from Christy Spacuzza's Uber, showing the last moments her family will see her alive. Police say this is Calvin Crew getting into the backseat of Spacuzza's Uber. His hood is up and he's wearing an all-black face mask that covers all but his glowing eyes. He sits still, only muttering a word or two. 10 minutes into the ride, Spacuzza cheerfully asks, "Did you have a good day today?" He mumbles, and Spacuzza says, "That's good." 18 minutes into the ride, police say Crew inches to the middle of the back seat and then pulls out a gun, grabs Spacuzza's ponytail, and presses the pistol to the back of her head.
What are you doing? This is a gun. Keep driving. No, it's not. Stop. Come on, man. I got a family. What are you doing? I got a family too. Now drive. What are you doing? Drive. Please stop. Drive the car, miss. I have 4 kids. What are you doing? Drive the car.
When the dashcam footage is ripped off the windshield, the ride doesn't end. What we don't see, police say Christy Spacuzza was forced to drive for another hour while Crew accessed her financial apps like Venmo, PayPal, Dollar Bank, and Square.
No.
We will never know what Spacuzza went through on the rest of that ride, or how else she tried to fight for her life. But we do know the ending in the video that sadly can never be rewound.
What's her name?
That was chilling, man, truly. People who drive for Uber or Lyft, man, you may not think about it when you're getting into it, but they really risking their lives every single time when they bring in a passenger, because you never know somebody's intentions. She pleading, saying she had a family. He still didn't care. But this was my first time, like, you know, I guess hearing somebody else talk about it.
Guys, my Uber won't leave. I just called the police. He refused to leave. When my sister went out and was like, why are you still here? He was like, what's your sister's name? And then she was like, I'll call the cops. And he put the window up on her. He didn't care. So now he's just chilling.
Wait for the cops. Bro, I'm violent. I can't.
My heart's pounding.
I can't. Like,
don't ask why I'm paranoid. Don't ask why we're worried about some stuff. Oh my god, he's still there. It's been like 15.
Yo, he doesn't give a f.
He doesn't.
Just sitting there?
What's your sister's name? I was like, I'm not f***ing you. He's like, well, who are you? He's like,
and in the car, he's like, oh yeah, this is a Polestar. You can come you can drive it sometime if you want to live in the area. I was like, no.
Yeah, no thanks.
I don't want to drive your Polestar.
What's up with these Uber drivers being freaks, man?
You go home. 2 days out, bitch. Get the home now. The Sorry, it's okay.
Arguing for the driver.
Keep it up, please. Keep it up.
I will.
Good. Keep it up.
Respect is earned and deserved.
Yeah, and you haven't given none.
Go
now. Go back.
Respect is earned.
And when are you gonna give some, sir? When?
I'm sick and tired of
I've been in this car for 50 minutes. When have you respected me as a passenger? When? I got in here. I asked you, can you turn your music down? You turned it up even more. Nobody should have to ask you that.
You feel so entitled.
Yes, I feel entitled because I'm a passenger.
You're a passenger, but this is.
And this is
my
your
car.
job.
It's not my job.
It's your job.
It's my car.
Be fucking
I can kick you
professional.
out of the car anytime I want to.
Guess what?
I don't work for anybody.
Then you do whatever you need to do.
I don't work for anybody. I work for myself.
Okay. Keep on.
You know,
keep
I
on,
can
keep
kick you
on.
out of. It's my car.
Okay.
Please, see, no worries. Don't be quarreling with her, please. Just go. Go
You
like this.
black
Take the
Americans, you feel
next-
so entitled. Over what?
The next
What
right.
the? Lazy ass.
Ooh, yes, yep.
Go get some job. You like to live on welfare. My tax money is taking care of you equally if you don't know that. Fool.
Oh, he trying to cook. She ain't going for it.
If you're dealing with other persons, don't talk that shit with me. I'll kick your ass. I even kick you too, physically.
The first right.
My God. You're crazy.
The first right, yeah.
See, I'm on the phone. I'm following the GPS. And that's what the GPS is telling me to do.
And I asked you while you on the phone to make a left turn.
I am following
If
the
you
GPS.
wasn't-
And I was
so
right.
what? The
I was
GPS
right.
is wrong sometimes. That's why I'm up and paying attention so I can tell you which way to go.
If you have different issues, I'm not responsible for it. If you have issues, I'm not responsible for it.
But please, no. You pick a patient from the hospital. All this is not right. Please.
Where am I? What was that? Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I just had a nightmare. Just please get me home. Dude, get out! Are you serious?
Those are some crazy rides, bro. Crazy clips, man, that we watched together. 2 of the Ubers being freaked out, man. 1 going off for that girl. Gonna call her a lazy American? Like, what the heck? Luckily, that, like I said, that never happened to me. But that's really insane. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support. Make sure you guys leave a thumbs up in this video. Comment down below. Don't forget to follow me on my social medias down below. Also, don't forget to hit the post notification bell. You guys are going to catch you in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.